If you clicked on this video, you probably want to book more headshot jobs. Am I right? Do yourself a favor and download this free PDF guide, 5 ways to book more headshots. It's got some great ideas that might just help you make more money. Links in the description. Welcome back to the channel for part 2 of my headshot photography travel gear. Now in this video, I'm going to start to show you what's in the bags, and I'm going to start with my favorite bag, which is my Pelican 1510. You can take a look at this thing and see that I've been beating this up my entire career. It's a little rough looking, but it can take that beating, which I love, and it has never let me down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you inside, kind of compartment by compartment, and tell you what I take on these headshot jobs when I travel and why I take it with me. But before we get started, take a second and sign up for my email list, Photographers Only. Every week I send out an email newsletter that tells people where I'm going to be speaking, what gear I'm using, what new videos I have coming out, all kinds of cool stuff. It is going to be one of the email lists that you actually like being on. So give that a shot and check it out. Now, before we go compartment by compartment, let's talk about how the case is organized. I have 2 upgrades from Pelican when I bought this case. One is the zipper compartment that goes in the lid, and the other is the modular dividers that you can upgrade to. It does make the case more expensive, but it makes it way, way more useful. The amount of stuff you can put in these zipper pockets is fantastic. And over probably 15 years of owning this case, I've had to rebuy the zipper pocket thing probably once, just because over time that mesh can get nicked and wear out and have holes in it. But over 15 years, I think that's like pretty good bang for your buck. Now the foam sort of inserts I like because they are completely movable and readjustable. You can make the case however you want and then change it all around depending on what you're packing for, and it only takes a second to do it. It's super, super easy. Inside the case, I have 3 camera bodies, 4 lenses, and a whole bunch of other bits and bobs that you can check out now. The main camera that I use here, and this is all put together in one big compartment, this is the R5 from Canon, and this is the 70-200 RF 2.8 lens. This is my favorite lens for headshots. I absolutely love it, and it is my go-to. It's the first thing I grab in the case every single time, and I just leave that put together because I like everything to kind of butt up against everything else so that it kind of all stays nice and snug in there. In the other compartment, I have 2 more camera bodies. And this are the R7, which I'm filming with right now, but I think I've got some B-roll where you can see that. And the RP, which is a very compact full frame. This is kind of old now, and I think probably the more updated version of this would be the R8. It's just a full frame with all the basics, very few tactile controls, but for headshots, it does a great job. The autofocus tracking works great for that. And again, it's the backup to my backup because I'm not going on a plane without having at least 2 camera backups. And speaking of backups, what about my lenses? Well, that 70-200 is kind of expensive to buy 2 of them, just to have one sitting in your case all the time. So for my backup to that lens, I go with the 24-105. This is the RF version, the f4 for the Canon mirrorless system. I love this lens for a lot of reasons. It's incredibly versatile. It's good for event photography, group shots, whatever they may throw at me when I'm at a job. In addition to that, if I put this on the R7, it gives me a really similar focal length to that 70-200, so I can still get that headshot range that I really like. So if my 70-200 happens to go down or break or get damaged, I can always fall back on this. This makes a great headshot lens. It's not nearly as sharp as the 70-200, but it is a really good alternative, and it's sharp plenty at f5.6, f8, where I like to shoot those headshots at. Wide open, you'll see that it's a little soft by comparison, but it still does a great job, and it's way more versatile than just having a second 70-200 taking up space in your bag. In addition to that, I have the RF 15-35. A lot of times when I travel for headshots, we're also doing event photography. This is great for group shots, but mainly I have this because I like to do video when I travel, and whether that's going to be behind the scenes of what I'm doing to create promotional material for my studio, or whether it's to create video for a client in kind of a hybrid job situation, this is a really great versatile lens for video that'll give you a lot of bang for your buck. It's big, it's expensive, and you certainly don't have to have one, but I like to have it with me. I also take a 24mm 1.8, which is what I'm filming with right now.
And that is a really good travel video lens. It's fixed, and on the R7, which I shoot most of my video with, it's about 35 millimeter equivalent. And so it makes a really solid fixed video lens and vlogging lens if you want to travel really light. Now, over here in this top compartment, I keep a lot of batteries. Now, keep in mind that this is for flying, and the Pelican 1510 is FAA regulation carry-on size. You can carry this on to pretty much any commercial airliner, unless it's like really teeny tiny. I think one time in 15 years, I've had to check this case, and it was the smallest plane I've ever flown on. And that was probably a weight distribution thing. I have no idea. But I also make sure that in my carry-on that I keep my batteries, because you cannot check these. My lights themselves, the lights I use are the Godox 8200s or the Flashpoint Evolve 200s or whatever Adorama calls them. And these are the batteries for them. I pack 4 of those lights in my grip case, but I can't pack the batteries in that bag that I'm going to check. So I put 8 of these bad boys right in the top over here. And that means I'm taking 4 lights. I have 2 batteries for each light. In my headshot configuration, I typically only use 3 lights most of the time. And so 4 lights means I always have a backup in case one goes down. Now, on top of that, I like to shoot with my main light with the bare bulb attachment on that 8200. You don't have to. It doesn't make a huge difference, but I can see the difference. But instead of packing that with the lights in the grip bag and letting that break, I kind of put that in here on top of the batteries and wrap that in like a lens cleaning cloth to keep it safe. Also, in that same compartment, I keep this guy. This is the DJI wireless microphone. This is a really, really killer thing to have with you to get good audio. So whether you're making behind the scenes content or you're producing YouTube content, whatever it is that you're doing, you have a way to get good audio. And it's even got this really cool adapter that will make the transmitter part of it able to plug into a phone, and you get great audio even if you're just filming stuff with your phone. Sometimes a client will ask you to do interviews, or sometimes you're making content. It doesn't matter. Just having the ability to get audio on the go, and it takes up almost no space in the case. Now, packed in on top of one of these lenses, I also keep my triggers. This is the R2 Nano from Flashpoint, I believe also Godox. And this is a really good alternative to the giant transmitters triggers that I was using in the past. They were so big that over the course of a few years, they actually kind of unseated the hot shoe on my R5, and I had to send it in and get repaired. I think this is an issue that probably a lot of people have had over the years. And so right as I had to go send it in and shell out $500 for that repair, it was actually about the same time that this came out and went up for sale. I love this thing. I'm thinking about making a video just for this. But it's really cool. It's about the size of an Apple Watch on the face of it. Even has a little crown like an Apple Watch, and it's a touch screen. So it's got all the bells and whistles of those big triggers without the giant footprint. Probably the only downfall of this is, according to some people, not to me, is that it's rechargeable by USB-C rather than having its own batteries. But I love that. These last I charge them about every 3 weeks, but just in case I don't want to be on the job and have one of these things fail and run out. But since they're so inexpensive, I actually have 2 of them. So I keep 2 of those in the bag, piece of cake. So that is everything that is in the bottom compartment. Now let's head over to the zippers and see what's going on. First zipper compartment, I have my Analoop batteries. These are rechargeable AA's by Panasonic and fit nicely into the charger. I always like to have a set of AA's with me. You never know when you're going to need them, but they also are the batteries that power my light meter, which we'll get to in a second. So I always take those with me. I love working with that light meter, and I'd hate to run out of power. Now, in this same compartment, I also keep all these batteries that power my R5 and my R7, and those are, I use an AC adapter when I'm shooting in headshots stationary, but I have these just in case. So I usually take about 5 or 6 of those with me when I go on a job. In the compartment under that, very simply, I just have the battery charger for those batteries and the battery charger for the RP batteries. Next compartment, this is where the magic happens. I love this. This is so dorky. Check this out. Okay, so I have this is a Pelican case for my memory cards. So it keeps all my SD cards in here as well as micro SD cards. Most of the time when I'm doing headshots, I'm shooting tethered, so I'm not using dual cards. I'm shooting to a laptop and to the memory card, so that's already double backup. I don't know why I need a triple backup. I'm not that neurotic. But anyway, I really like this thing. It's super awesome, and your cards will be nice and safe. Now, also in that compartment, I keep this guy. This is the small rig kind of camera multi-tool. I don't even know what it's called, actually. I'll research that and find a link and stick it in the description. But this is pretty much every kind of tool or adjustment you need for camera equipment, including a whole bunch of other cool little holes and things for testing thread sizes and neat stuff like that. So this was actually sent to me by my buddy Jim Felder over there in Oklahoma. He saw me put on a tripod plate with my car keys once, and so he felt bad for me and mailed me this. And so, Jim, I appreciate you. I use this thing all the time. And this is basically like having a tool set where all the tools are just the right size for all your photography gear. So I like that a lot. Now, because I'm often in convention centers and places like that, restaurants, who knows where they have me set up, and I don't always have control over the lighting, the ambient lighting in the room, you're digging through a case where everything inside is black and all your equipment is black. And so I keep one of these on me. This is just a little like keychain pen light, and it's really useful for looking through your case if you happen to be doing that in the dark. So that zipper compartment has that stuff in it. In the compartment below that, I just keep the extra pieces for the modular part of the case in case I need to make any adjustments to it. And finally, in this last zipper compartment, I keep this. This is my light meter. This is a Conic L something, L358. This is the one I've been using for years. I use a light meter to make sure that my exposures are accurate, and across all the jobs that I do, it means less shooting and adjusting. It just means that my images turn out exactly right out of camera. I would not shoot a job without a light meter. I actually got a new one. Thanks, Abscesse, for sending me the information on that one. I just got a brand new one that can actually control my lights now, but I haven't really opened it up and played with it yet, but I will be doing a video on that. But I bought this light meter on Facebook Marketplace years ago, and it's just been awesome, and it's lasted forever. Light meters really do last a long time, especially these kind of like barely digital, almost analog light meters. This is probably older than my kids. And then finally, in that same compartment, I keep my color checker passport from X-Rite. I don't even know if it's called X-Rite anymore, but I mostly use this for a gray card so I can get consistent white balance across all my images. A lot of times I'm traveling and shooting for the same company, but in different locations. And so this makes sure that all the images, the white balance turns out to the same when I use this. And so that's pretty much everything that's in the case. In the next video, we're gonna go into my Think Tank Producer 40, the big one, the go bag, the grip bag. We're gonna go into that one, and it's gonna be all the light stands, modifiers, grip equipment, and all the other bells and whistles and things that I use to make my life shooting headshots on location easier. So that's what's in my camera case. Stay tuned for the next video. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments, and I will put a link to the gear in that for you too. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. That's the one. And share this video. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.